Good morning. It's official. The 2026 World Cup is coming to New Jersey and the San Francisco Bay Area. Fans celebrate the announcements made Thursday.
Elon Musk addresses Twitter employees in a leaked internal online Q&A meeting. Find out what was discussed during the video call.
Leaders from France, Germany, and Italy visit Ukraine to show their support. And the European Union's executive expected to propose Ukraine become a formal candidate for membership.
They did it again. The Golden State Warriors won their 4th NBA championship in 8 years. An emotional night for friends, family, and fans. Good morning. Welcome to NTD Daybreak. I'm Kevin Hogan.
Good morning, and I'm Evelyn Lee. We made it through the week, everybody. Today is Friday, June 17th. It's great to have you with us this morning. And I'm pretty excited, to be honest with you, because I don't know about you, Kev, but apparently we have the World Cup also coming to New York City.
That is exciting, and it's expected to bring a lot of tourists.
Oh, I bet. And now FIFA announced the full list of cities that will host matches for the 2026 World Cup. So besides New York City, the Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California is another one of the lucky bidders to get approved. Excited fans in the San Francisco Bay Area celebrated.
The Golden Gate City of San Francisco and the Bay Area.
The World Cup being here is not traditional to sports in America, but it involves everybody, it embraces everybody, and it welcomes everybody. And this is what the world needs, and our Bay Area will show the rest of the world what a wonderful place this is.
So fun. Bring it on. Welcome to the Bay Area, everywhere in the world.
Great sense of relief and joy and gratitude for this community for embracing soccer in a way it has.
15 other North American cities have been chosen to host matches. 11 cities in the U.S., 3 in Mexico, and 2 in Canada. Other cities picked to host games are Los Angeles, Dallas, Miami, Mexico City, and Toronto.
For New York City, the MetLife Stadium was picked to host 2026 World Cup matches. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy and New York City Mayor Eric Adams joined young soccer players on stage to celebrate at a watch party.
The World Cup is coming here to New York and New Jersey.
There's one game we want. We want the last game. We want the last game. We want that World Cup trophy hoisted right here up the road in MetLife Stadium. Look at the backdrop. How could you not play the finals here? Look at New York City, the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island.
It will be the first time the tournament has 3 countries sharing hosting duties. It is also expanding the tournament from 32 to 48 teams. The venues for the first game and the finals are not yet decided. Business owners in the hospitality industry are looking forward to the potential boost in tourism and profits during the month-long event, expecting between a 25% to 50% increase in revenue, depending on who's playing.
And they did it again. The Golden State Warriors won their 4th NBA championship in 8 years.
This season has been crazy. They've been up, they've been down, but we out here in the championship. We won it.
The Warriors beat Celtics with 103-90 last night. Stephen Curry wins NBA Finals MVP for the first time in his career, scoring 34 points in this important game. From Boston to the Bay Area, players, families, friends, and fans are going wild.
This season said a lot about the Warriors. They were able to bounce back as soon as we were healthy. So that means if we were healthy, we would have had two more NBA Finals appearances, but that's okay. We did good, we showed up and we showed out, and I'm glad we took it in Boston.
I don't think about this as a championship. I think about a dynasty. 4 out of 8.
That's the Warriors' 4th title since 2015.
Yes, it was an emotional night for the players, especially for Curry after a brutal Game 5. He bounced back to form in Game 6, exploding for 34 points in 40 minutes.
And this coming Monday, the Golden State Warriors will host a parade down Market Street in San Francisco to celebrate their big win. Billionaire Elon Musk addressed Twitter employees for the first time on Thursday. He's planning to buy the social media company and just had an online Q&A session with company staff. Here's NTD's Jeremy Sandberg with Musk's vision and plans for the platform.
I think Twitter's the best way to do that.
In the video call, Musk talks about possible job cuts, free speech, and the importance of transparency.
I think it's essential for a functioning democracy, or to function well. I think it's essential to have a free speech and to be able to communicate freely.
Musk says he wants to raise the platform's users from 229 million to at least 1 billion people, and that advertising would remain an important part of the platform. When asked why he wants to buy Twitter, Musk says he finds it the best forum to communicate with many people simultaneously.
In the past, you'd have to, in order for somebody to read about something, you'd have to issue a press release, or and then you hope that the regular media would write about the press release, and then they wouldn't write about it in quite the way you'd like to write about it.
Musk also says he likes the pictures, videos, text, and memes that people create, and is able to learn a lot from what he reads on Twitter and express himself.
If I want to say something or make an announcement, I think Twitter's the best way to do that.
The successful entrepreneur says he feels old-fashioned press releases are strange, overly self-flattering, and propagandist. He also thinks most media portray stories through a negative light and rarely get it right.
I think that actually is maybe one of the biggest reasons for me using Twitter, is so I can communicate directly with people and not through the lens of the media.
Musk answered questions about his political views, to which he identified as a moderate. He says it's important for people with extreme views to be able to express themselves within the bounds of the law, that free speech should remain within the context of the law. The issue of trust and transparency also came up. Some employees criticized and complained about Musk in internal messages, which were also leaked after the meeting, to which Musk replied on Twitter, "Interesting." Jeremy Sandberg, NTD News.
Tesla is raising prices for all of its car models in the U.S. The price increases come in response to global supply chain issues and higher costs for materials. According to Tesla's website, the electric car maker's Model Y long-range price increased by $3,000 on Thursday. The 5% price hike comes as costs of raw materials used in cars and batteries surge. Automakers are struggling to source chips and other supplies amid an industry-wide shortage. Tesla CEO Elon Musk says lithium is the reason for the cost increases and a limiting factor to electric vehicle growth, and is encouraging more car makers to get into the lithium business. It's starting to become pretty difficult to find a new car that's affordable. Monthly costs to finance vehicles have hit record highs. Monthly payments average over $650 per month for a new car, financed at 5.1% over 70 months, according to May data from Edmunds.com. For used cars, the average monthly payment is nearly $550, with an average rate of 8.2% and loan length of about 71 months. Prices are likely to increase further. Shortages and interest rates are pushing prices up. Average new car prices remain elevated in May at over $45,000. New car prices are up nearly 13% from a year ago, and used car prices over 16%, according to the latest data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Disgraced attorney Michael Avenatti pleaded guilty to embezzling millions of dollars from 4 of his clients. The new plea filing comes shortly after a New York judge sentenced him for convicted charges of extortion and identity theft. Avenatti came to fame for representing adult film star Stormy Daniels against former President Donald Trump in a non-disclosure lawsuit. Avenatti could face a maximum of 83 years in prison, although it's likely his sentence would be less than that. He's already serving a 5-year sentence on 2 other convictions. Among them is stealing Daniels' $300,000 book advance. Avenatti still faces 31 counts of wire fraud, bank fraud, aggravated identity theft, and tax-related charges. Right now, he's scheduled to be sentenced on September 19th in Santa Ana, California.
The State Department said Thursday it has not asked Russia about 2 missing U.S. citizens. The 2 Americans disappeared after traveling to Ukraine to fight against Russian forces. Now there is a 3rd American reported missing.
If we had reason to believe, credible reason to believe that these individuals were in Russian custody, we would pursue that as appropriate. I can't speak to the specifics of that case. Unfortunately, we don't know the full details of that case.
State Department spokesman Ned Price spoke to reporters describing reports about the 2 men as unconfirmed. Alexander Drucke, 39, of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and Andy Huynh, 27, of Hartselle, Alabama, went to Ukraine as volunteer fighters. They have been missing for a week and are feared captured. That's what family members have said. And now there are reports of an additional American with unknown whereabouts. Price says a 3rd American was identified as missing in recent weeks, but further details are unknown at this stage. The State Department is advising Americans not to go to Ukraine.
An airborne spectacle in the 3 Baltic states' capitals on Thursday. 2 U.S. Air Force F-35 Lightning II aircraft and a Stratotanker conducted a low flyover to showcase their skills. NTD's Condemn has the details.
The aircraft, assigned to the 92nd Air Refueling Wing, displayed in-air refueling, as well as flying in formation over Riga, Tallinn and Vilnius. The purpose of each flyover is to demonstrate U.S. commitment and assurance to NATO Baltic allies and partners. Several Boeing KC-135 aircraft were transferred from the United States in March to reinforce existing forces within NATO. The Baltic states of Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania have been calling for their region to receive the biggest buildup of combat-ready NATO forces in Europe since the end of the Cold War. Many US and European allies support the calls for a bigger force in principle, but say allies can only commit to maintaining higher troop levels, pre-positioning more equipment, weapons and ammunition in the region, and promising rapid reinforcements. Condemn, NTD News.
The leaders of France, Germany and Italy visited Ukraine on Thursday in a show of support. Kyiv hopes the visit will be followed with more weapons and tougher action to help in the war against Russia. Lucy Fielder has more.
A show of support among the rubble in Irpin after French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi arrived in Ukraine early on Thursday. Kyiv hopes their visit brings concrete action. All 3 leaders are seeking to overcome Ukraine's criticism of their response to its fight against Russia's invasion. Irpin was one of the main hotspots of fighting with Russian troops in the north before they pulled back to intensify their offensive in the east. Ukraine says Russia committed large-scale atrocities here, which Russia denies. Macron called the town heroic and said there were signs war crimes were committed. The French president has been criticized at home and abroad for not going to Ukraine earlier. He has repeatedly said he would only go if and when the visit could be useful and not just symbolic. The trio arrived together by train in a show of unified solidarity, but it remains to be seen what concrete steps they bring.
A message of unity we're sending to the Ukrainians, yes, of support, to speak about today, but also the future, because we know the weeks to come will be very difficult.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky wants his visitors to deliver more arms to help his hard-pressed army withstand the Russian invaders. Kyiv has accused France, Germany and to a lesser extent Italy of foot-dragging, being slow to deliver weapons and putting their own prosperity ahead of Ukraine's freedom and security. Ukraine has been particularly critical of Germany's military aid and wants Scholz to hand over heavy weapons that have been promised but not yet delivered. Scholz has dismissed allegations he's held back, saying Germany was one of the biggest military and financial backers of Ukraine. Kyiv officials have also expressed fears of pressure to accept a peace deal favourable to Russia, which calls its invasion a special military operation. The Kremlin said the leaders' visit shouldn't only focus on supplying weapons to Ukraine. It's absolutely useless, spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said, and will prolong suffering and cause further damage. The European Union's executive is expected to propose on Friday that Ukraine become a formal candidate for membership, diplomats and officials say. That would be a significant political gesture to Ukraine, but it's also something EU leaders are divided on.
In the next segment, we take you to the birthplace of Father's Day and get to know the mother of Father's Day. And after the break, we take a look at the upcoming Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show in New York this weekend. It has 3,500 pooches competing to prove that they're the goodest boy. Stay tuned for more right here on NTD Daybreak. Father's Day is coming up this Sunday, and people celebrate the holiday to show their appreciation for the guardian that raised them. But do you know where the tradition started? NTD's Eileen Ng has the story.
The city of Spokane, Washington is the birthplace of Father's Day. It started in the craftsman-style home known as the Father's Day House, or the Dodd House. A Spokane resident named Sonara Smart Dodd was inspired to dedicate a day for fathers while listening to a Mother's Day sermon at a church in 1909. Her father, William Smart, was a Civil War veteran who raised Dodd and her 5 younger brothers after her mother died during childbirth.
The idea, I think, of having a single father in those, years with 6 small children, and it was really important to her that he be recognized for all that he did.
A plaque in front of the house honoring Dodd reads, "He felt fatherhood was a lifelong task, and he never relinquished its duties and responsibilities until his death in 1919. Even after my brothers and I were married, he was mindful of his obligations, for he was a golden rule type of father." Dodd started a petition to create a day honoring fathers. With the help of organizations, the Spokane mayor and Washington governor signed proclamations to celebrate the first Father's Day in June 1910. After that, Dodd advocated for Father's Day to become a national holiday for 60 years.
She decided to make it really a promotional effort and partnered with businesses that would benefit from selling men's items, whether those are ties or, greeting cards, whiskey, things that dads might appreciate.
In 1966, President Lyndon B. Johnson declared the third Sunday in June to be Father's Day. 6 years later, in 1972, President Richard Nixon made the holiday permanent. Dodd became known as the Mother of Father's Day. On the 100th anniversary of Father's Day, the National Register of Historic Places added the Dodd home to its list. Now, Spokane celebrates Father's Day just like everywhere else. Eileen Ng, NTD News, Spokane, Washington.
The understated contended with the outrageous as women donned their finest hats for Ladies' Day at Royal Ascot on Thursday. Traditionally, it's the day when the most extravagant millinery and outfits make an appearance. The Thursday of the annual race meeting in England's Berkshire has become known as Ladies' Day, although it isn't recognized as such by the organizers. The event enforces a formal dress code, with men in the royal enclosure required to wear morning dress, including a waistcoat, tie, and top hat. Women must wear a hat with a base of at least 4 inches in diameter, and dresses should be of a modest length.
Over 200 breeds of dogs will participate in the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show in Tarrytown, New York this weekend. This is the second longest continuously running sporting event in the U.S. Let's take a look.
Nearly 3,500 dogs will participate in this year's Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show. The dogs will fight for titles in competitions such as the 9th Annual Masters Agility Championship on Saturday and the 7th Annual Masters Obedience Championship on Monday. Here's a preview of the agility test.
The most challenging obstacle is the weave pole. Because, jumping, climbing, that's kind of natural for a dog. But going back and forth in 12 poles, that's pretty advanced, and it's a little unnatural. So that takes a while to train. There's a certain way they have to go in, there's a certain way they have to come out. And it takes a while to train to get them to do it consistently, reliably, from different angles, and to do it well.
The Director of Communications at Westminster Kennel Club says part of the attraction that dog breeds and dog shows have to people is their history. The participating dogs are all bred for a specific purpose, to work with and to help humans.
Purebred dogs are helping our communities as search and rescue dogs, military, police, medic alert dogs, in lots of different ways, service dogs. And so having these predictable purebred dogs in our communities and celebrating their differences and their unique instincts and histories, we think it's invaluable.
During the preview, organizers also announced 2 new breeds in this year's competitions. One of them is the Moody, a medium-sized farm dog from Hungary, originally bred to herd sheep and cattle. The other is called the Russian Toy.
New breeds, the Moody and the Russian Toy that you saw earlier, they're, they come from very distinct backgrounds, very limited breeding.
This year, organizers will not hold the show at its traditional home, at Madison Square Garden in Manhattan.
The famed New York City Dog Show will take place again at the Lyndhurst Estate in Tarrytown, New York, playing into this year's theme of Old Meets New as we honor our Manhattan heritage while embracing our Westchester County adventure.
The televised contest starts on Saturday, June 18th and ends on Wednesday, June 22nd. The judges will determine which dog is best in show on the last day.
Those dogs, they just bring so much value to people's lives. I mean, they look really cool and they help out a lot as service dogs and others.
Truly, truly man's best friend. And that's all for today's program. Thanks for watching as always. I'm Evelyn Lee.
And I'm Kevin Hogan.